Okay, everybody, we would like to welcome you back to the What 5HT channel. We're coming back at you tonight with something very interesting. You know, we talked about bridging the gap between the baby boom and the Gen X and millennial and Gen Z. It's an important generation that we're living in right now. I just want to I want to show you guys something, and I want everybody to just tune in and take a look, especially to my millennials and my Gen Z. Please take a look at this.
Black berets, leather jackets, raised fists and guns. These are all striking images of the Black Panther Party. Formed in California in 1966, the revolutionary organization fought for Black power and protection.
We were the first chapter formed outside of the state of California.
Motivated by Martin Luther King Jr.'s assassination and the killing of California Black Panther member Bobby Hutton by Oakland police, brothers Elmer and Aaron Dixon formed the Seattle chapter in 1968.
The Black Power movement was growing.
They rallied hundreds of locals to protect Black and brown communities.
Black Panthers up here with guns on the second floor.
The guns drew the attention of the federal government.
J. Edgar Hoover named us the #1 threat to the internal security of the United States. He called black hate groups. And so they assassinated Panthers. They attacked our offices. That's where the violence emanated from.
Their movement grew from self-defense to survival. They monitored police activity to protect Black residents.
That was our police alert patrol, where we armed ourselves with shotguns and law books.
Okay.
To patrol
Okay.
police.
That's good. That's good.
Three people were killed and
So we got to look at that. And I want you to digest what you just saw, what you just heard. Now, I would say the baby boomers, they were more informed of the Black Panther Party. And you heard them say the government viewed the Black Panther Party as a threat. They called it a Black national hate group. But if you saw if you took a good look at the clip, they were standing on the steps of it could have been a federal building or state, but I can tell you it was something to that capacity, and they were locked and loaded with guns. They were actually locked and loaded with guns. So if you heard what one of the officers was saying that we got Black Panthers up here with guns, that's interesting. You find black people with guns. Normally, when you find black people with guns, it turns out a totally different way as to what I would say we're used to in today's time, or what the millennials and Gen Z might expect when there's guns in our presence outside your home, in the community. Okay, think about what I'm just saying right now. I got one more clip I want you to take a look at. I got another clip I want you to take a look at. So we're gonna play the clip and we're gonna talk about it. I want to see what you think about it.
3 people were killed and 9 others were hurt in a mass shooting in the Grays Ferry section of Philadelphia. This shooting, just one incident over a very violent weekend in the city. Action News reporter Jessica Cartalia is live with more. And Jessica, you have new video showing the terrifying moments multiple people opened fire.
And Sarah, that video is incredibly difficult to watch and just hard to fathom that something like that could happen. Meanwhile, many of the victims of that shooting were brought here to Penn Presbyterian Hospital, where they are still being treated. Ring camera footage is now part of a police investigation into a gunfight early this morning in Grays Ferry. Hazardous waste crews scrub blood from the sidewalk just hours after that mass shooting.
There is a lot of video circulating online. It's pretty much a horrific scene.
Police say a gunfight erupted just before 1 o'clock this morning on the 1500 block of South Edding Street in Grays Ferry. After making several arrests over the weekend, police were monitoring reports of
Okay,
large gatherings.
that's good right there. That's good. That's good. That's good. Not the not what we just saw is good by all means. Can we see the contrast and the difference of what we just experienced in those two clips? Both times we saw guns in the neighborhood, and both times there were different outcomes. One was deemed a threat to the government, and we don't have to talk about it. We can see the other one was not anywhere close a threat to the government. It seemed to be more a threat to the community that they actually live in. Now, my heart goes out to everybody that was caught up in what we just saw. But our community has become numb to it, extremely numb. I think about all the protests and people getting in the streets about all these political acts and have these uh, political candidates hyping you up, getting you all drawn up to get involved with something that may not even involve you or your community. But when we see an incident like what we just experienced then, yeah, sure, we talk about it, but it's pretty much numb. Now let's get to the Black Panther Party. Baby boomers, right? Gen X, Latch and Key. That's the era. So if you heard that organization came together after we lost one of our leaders, a great leader, everybody would pretty much agree with that. Some pretty much reserved about him being a great leader, but I'm not going to get involved with that. But that was the motivation to that particular organization coming together. And it was absolutely a threat to the federal government. But they stood on the steps with guns, loaded, locked and loaded. No one was injured. No one was taken away. But on the trip we witnessed at maybe a restaurant or wherever it was, I'm really not sure where it was. Um, it didn't turn out so well for the people that was around and maybe some of the people that were involved. How did we get there? How did we get to from being a people that was coming together, pretty much organized? I don't want to go too much into detail. We'll talk about it later on another topic, but pretty much organized, very active in the community, doing positive things. And the government considered that group a threat. Yes, absolutely a threat to the point where they felt the need, the FBI and Hoover felt the need to intervene. We need to get rid of this group. But they wasn't injuring no one in the community. Quote unquote, they say they were policing the community to make sure everything was fine. As what I'm told, they kept most of the pimps and the dope dealers out of the neighborhood. And they also protected the community from the brutality that they say that their community was experienced with the local police. I wasn't there. I was a babe. But this is what I hear. But now that I'm living in the era that I live now, what we witnessed in that Philadelphia clip, that's so often seen. And I have a lot of people that like to concentrate on this racial divide that we say we have, and the racism and this and that. And we have uproar all the time about all these different issues. I have yet to see an uproar from what we just witnessed in that second clip. I have yet to see an uproar, not only from the community where it really should come from, but how about the federal government? You mean tell me the federal government don't consider that a threat? Now I'm gonna tell you how I feel about it. It's a sad situation. It's a sad situation for us, for as a community. It's a sad situation for those young people that was caught up in the crossfire. I uh, I was listening one time. I heard one lady say she felt very safe when she walked, and she knew that the Panthers were patrolling the community. She felt safe. I wonder would that lady feel the same way today if she saw a group of, I'm gonna say this, African American men. At that time they were colored. No, oops, I was wrong. Negro. Remember those identifications? It changes whenever they want it to change, and we change with it. But anyway, African American men, I'm just being politically correct in today's time. If you saw them locked and loaded with guns, would you feel safe today? Think about it. Think about that. But this is what I have to say. Some kind of way, we lost our way. Yeah, from baby boomers to Gen X, we lost our way. What happened to that? I'm not going to say the Panther mentality that the government so feared. I want to say the Panther mentality that patrolled our neighborhoods, made sure our kids and our women were safe. Now, in that second clip, there was a lot of women in that, whatever that, I don't know what it was, a bar, restaurant, it really doesn't matter. But it turned out bad because it's a few people didn't make it. Well, what happened? How do we lose our kids like that? How do we lose them like that? And I literally actually feel empathy for even the ones that were pulling the trigger in that second clip. I don't know what they experienced in their young lives in the home. I don't know if it was a home that had a mother and a father, a single mother. I don't know if it was a home that was maybe festered with relatives that may have been on these exotic drugs that was dropped in our neighborhood. I just really don't know. But we need to figure this out. It was a time they said it took a village to raise a child. Well, I'm here to say, remember I said in my introduction, the village is afraid. Wow. The village is afraid. In the day that I know, it were the kids were afraid of the village because the village was tight and knitted and united. Now everyone goes along minding their own business. What they call it, Kay? I'm gonna stay out the way. I'm gonna stay out the way. I'm gonna mind my own business as long as they don't come over here in my house until they hit your house. And then when they hit your house, you want the whole book thrown at whomever did what. Come on, village. And to the younger my generation of millennials and Gen Z, I get it. everything should not be thrown your way. There's some share in the blame around here. If you remember in that first clip, they said that the Panther Party was motivated to come together when we lost MLK, Martin Luther King. But we also lost in that time in the likes of RFK Sr. See, you may know RFK Jr. At one time, he was liked by a certain group, and then all of a sudden, he wasn't liked by a certain group. See how they swing you? They sway you with they sway you how we move and blow in the wind. Whichever the wind, which is a song called "Any Way the Wind Blows." You just sway with it. No, 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 no. We lost our history. Kay and I was talking, and we were sharing some things, and she brought up a good point. She said, "Well, there was a lot of stuff that should have been told and should have been said, and people was like, well, we're not gonna tell you that. We're not gonna share that with you. Maybe those are some of the things that should have been shared and should have been talked about at the dinner table when you decided not to share. I might ask, I probably can ask any millennial or Gen Z, how far back could you go? Do you know your grandma? Do you know your great grandma? Do you know your great grandma? And if so, what do you know about her? What happened? Were these people so bad that they weren't even worth discussing anymore? Were they so uh tainted that we didn't even want to think about them anymore? I got a cousin, and he and we've been kind of coming together as of late. And when I spend all the time in Detroit, I didn't get a chance to experience him growing up. Now that I see him now, and I'm really proud of him because he's very active in the community and he's doing some great things. I'm really impressed with him, extremely impressed. Even he was saying like, "Cuz, there's a lot of things I don't know about the family. We need to stop it. It has to stop. It needs to quit." And for my boomers that decided to roll over after those losses, the, the fight was gone. The fight to save the community, the fight to keep the community, it was gone. It just left. So that's why I will not shift all the blame to those young men that we witnessed in the second clip. The fight left. The village disappeared. What happened? Are we so afraid? Are we that afraid? Until what? Until some politician tell you to get up because somebody did something over here or something over there, and then now all of a sudden you all riled up and you want to get all involved and mixed up in something that's not even your fight. Your fight is in your community, in your house. We talked about it, Kay and I. And here go a truth again. It says charity starts at home and then it shares abroad. I'm talking to the Bible readers again. I'm talking to the ones that be at the building again. Charity starts at home and then it shares abroad. Get your house together. Get your community together. Get your neighborhood together. Get your street together. And then when you go in those voting booths and start pulling levers, know who you voting for. Leave the identity politics alone. Egypt had slaves. in Moses' time. The Egyptian had slaves. If we read it right, and for those that don't read it, the one that's watched the Ten Commandments on these Hollywood channels, which is another misconception, another misconception. But here we go again. The home can't straighten it out because the head of the home is lost. Baby boomers, baby boomers. We need to get back on track. Get back on track. We saw two clips, two different results. We actually witnessed a clip with black men standing on some kind of, it had to be it had to be a local, state, or city building with Europeans or Caucasian police officers in the company, maybe a few reporters. Nothing happened, but they got rid of that group. But some kind of way, this group, in the second clip, we can't get rid of this group. See, this group, you had Moses that had to take the Hebrews out of Egypt to the promised land. They never made it to the promised land, the group that left Egypt, because they couldn't get their act together. So Moses had to stretch out his rod over the Red Sea for it to open and for them to cross over. So Moses had a rod. But after Moses, I'm giving you a small Bible lesson now. That's to the Bible readers. If you're not a Bible reader, okay, that's fine too. That's cool, because we're gonna hit you too. We're gonna come at you too, even if you're not a Bible reader. But anyway, back to what I was saying. That group that came out of Egypt couldn't cross over the Jordan. They all died in the wilderness because of their rebellion. Baby boomers. Excuse me, baby boomers. Listen up. Joshua followed after Moses. Joshua was a different type. Joshua and Caleb, out of that whole group, were the only two that was able to cross over the Jordan River. Moses only had a chance to look over, but Joshua and Caleb crossed over, and they took a whole new generation with them. Millennials, Gen Z, listen to me. They took a whole nother generation with them. Now, this generation were a generation of fighters and warriors. See, Moses had a rod. He had to stretch the rod out when he got to the waters. But when Joshua got to the water, he had to put his foot down or his foot in it. Moses never saw war. All Joshua did was fight. But the only difference was he wasn't fighting his own people. Second clip, second clip, second clip. He wasn't fighting his own people. There was another group that he had to fight to get to where he had to get to. So what I'm saying to you today is quit getting involved in other people's fight. Leave other people's fight alone. Yeah, we got this thing that we going through now because we got, oh, by the way, I know everybody, I'm gonna say his name because most people hate him anyway, Trump. Okay, we got Trump who stopped a border close, and we had another administration that had a border open. So now we got a group of people over here that some people wanted, they don't feel like they should be here, and some people say, well, it's all right for them to be here. Okay, then either or, whether they shouldn't be here or whether it's all right for them to be here, it's cool. I'm not gonna get in that fight. That's not my fight. I'm already here. And I'm not going to let anybody tell me, oh, you look up one day and you will be one of them that they sending away. Okay, until that day, let me get my community together. Until that day, let me fight in my own house. I'm going to fight with somebody else that's doing a fight that has nothing to do with me. And the fight absolutely has nothing to do with me. So I take care of my family and my home. I'm concerned about those that around me in my environment. That sounds kind of harsh. Well, you could take it like you want it, but charity starts at home and then it shares abroad. When I can get my own house together, then maybe I can go somewhere else and help some more people. Until then, let me work on and get my own house together. To the people in that second clip, did you see the women? They were falling all over the floor, diving. I'm talking to my young ladies now. Falling all over the floor, diving. Help us reel them in. Women got power that they don't even know they have, and sometimes they use it in the wrong way. You have power over men that you don't even understand that you have. Young women, you have power over men that you don't understand that you have, but but don't use it in the wrong way. We don't want all our brothers flooding the prisons, and we don't want them what we call pushing up daisies, man, looking at the ceiling of the church, because that's all we getting used to, and it's not a good thing. I have sons and I have some daughters. I don't want my daughters diving around on the floor while my son's shooting up in the air and don't even know what they're shooting at. They ain't hitting nothing but everything wrong. Now, if I was to even bet on it, those guys in the first clip that had those guns, if they decided to draw, they probably would hit what they're trying to hit. That's if I was to bet on it because that's how organized they were. We didn't see no organization in that second clip. We just saw a lot of chaotic, we saw a very chaotic scene. More than likely, innocent bystanders had to suffer. And the ladies all over the floor, screaming, hollering. And this is a sad note also I want to leave you with. I was at the grocery store and I was shopping. I want to share this with you because it was interesting for me to hear this. I was at the grocery store and I was shopping, and young lady that usually checked me out, a nice young lady. She's always working. She works all the time, and I admire her for that. And I heard her having a conversation with one of her coworkers, and she was like, they was talking about a party that happened over the weekend, and she asked the question. She said, "So, was it a shootout?" And I thought that was interesting. So I guess it was a normal conversation. She was like, "No, it wasn't no shootout." Oh, well, okay then. Well, that was no fun party then. The fun part is when it's a shootout. And it's a shootout and you have to run and all that. And I was like, where did that mentality come from? I'm like, where's that was coming from a young lady? I'm like, where did that come from? Young women, don't do it. Don't do that. Don't do that. Remember, in the introduction, we're supposed to be the mothers and the fathers of the earth. That's what we're supposed to be. Act like it. Act like it. How how is it that a party is not a good party unless it's a shootout at the end? Is that where we are? Are you really that angry? Did we really mess up that bad? I want to apologize if for my generation. Did we really mess up that bad? If so, what can we do? What do we need to do? And baby boomers, I need you to listen. I need you to listen because the ball got dropped somewhere. I think what happened is after we suffered those tragic losses and they were so close together, but there was some more losses in there. I didn't say anything about it, but I'm not gonna highlight all these losses because it's not a good thing. But it affected the community, and everybody decided to just go home, go to the club, party, get high. and wake up and do it all over again. And we gonna pick up. We gonna pick up. We gonna pick right back up where I'm leaving off right now. What what transpired? A generation of people got broken and they decided to go home, get high, and party. But anyway, we're gonna keep this thing going. We're gonna make it happen. Hey, I want to thank you guys for tuning in tonight. I want to thank Kay again. It's spectacular and what she do. It's awesome. Yeah, she's really good at what she do. Because like I say, I can't do half of this tech. I guess it looked like maybe I should try to do something. But my thing is, I want you to really, I want this thing to work with us, baby boomers. I'm gonna keep going in into my millennials, into my Gen Z. I want to reel you in because we got Generation Alpha to think about. We can regain this control. We got Generation Alpha to think about, but we got to pick the right fight. And some of this stuff we're involved in, it has nothing to do with us. Quit allowing the politicians to feed your brains. And some of the politicians you know nothing about. Absolutely nothing. And in most cases they are the best of friends, but we become enemies. And we cannot let that happen. So I'm gonna ask you guys to like, comment, subscribe, hit that button. Come take this journey with us. Come take this journey with us, and we're gonna be all right. And until I see you guys on our next post, like I say, like, subscribe. What the flux? I'm out of here.